Hey everyone, welcome back to another DIY build here. Ryan Lehman. Today we're going to talk about building some show cannons, whether it's for a haunted house, school theater show, anything you might need like a prop faux cannon for. They'll look really nice in presentation as a prop, obviously not going to be functional. So we have some of this repurposed wood. We got some packing crates, pallets, what have you. Repurposed the wood, tore them apart, and actually got some salvage materials here. You can use 2x6s, 2x4. It's just a matter of figuring out what your purposes and needs might be. These are just repurposed from sheet metal, rolls of sheet metal, or siding or wallpaper. This, you could also get concrete tube. That'll create a nice big cannon. This is actually pretty affordable if you want to go this route and not try to hodgepodge something together. You could also use like lemonade containers, like the tubed lemonade containers, iced tea, oatmeal, that sort of thing, and kind of stack them and tape them. We're gonna make some brackets. We're gonna put these all together and we'll start with the bases. And then, like I said, we'll get into the cannons in just a moment. We're going to start by cutting the base pieces of the salvaged wood. 2 of the pieces will be 15 inch, 2 are 18 inch, and the bottom are 2 feet, so 24 inches. Depending if you used other size wood, you might have varying measurements, but we used 15 inches for the front, then the 2 feet on the bottom with the 18th staggered on top. I then cut some pieces of Luan, which will be the faux metal brackets that's going to hold everything together. So these are spray painted. These are going to be like slats, metal slats, reinforcement on the side of the cannon base. These will be for kind of the clamping down of the actual cannon itself. But spray paint them silver, a little bit of black for the powder, as well as a little the gold or the bronze for like rust or patina. So then let these dry and then we'll assemble everything. After the spray painting was done, I stained the base pieces of that recycled 2x6 and wiped them dry and let them sit overnight. Once everything was dry, the next morning I screwed everything together with 2.5 inch screws to start assembling the bases. To hold both layers of the bases together, we used those faux pieces of metal made out of the Luan spray painted, bolted them down to connect everything together. This was a pretty exciting moment in the early phases of our build because it really started to come together and you could already see the potential that these cannon bases were really going to bring to this entire project. Next, I trim a piece of drapery tube to be the cross fulcrum point of the cannon, and then added a piece of wood on the back as a support. Now that our cannon bases are assembled, as you saw, doing these different metal strappings on the side, these cardboard loops. If you wanted to actually shape some metal straps, you could, but for our purposes, cardboard works just fine. Drapery tube, if you don't have drapery tube that you can get at maybe a craft store or a fabric shop, you could use a dowel, broomstick, handle, whatever. PVC pipe would even work. Spray paint it, obviously, for that silver metal coating. This will go through the cannon and then be obviously the support fulcrum for the cannon. We're going to add some eyelets, eye hooks on the side of this base, and then put these 3-inch metal rings. These are real leather craft lace. So craft store, you can get like these leather working rings, and we're going to put those inside that eye hook, and then these eye hooks are going to go on the side as like the loops where they would chain it down to the ship bed so that, you know, the cannons don't go flying everywhere. So we're going to add the eyelets, we're going to add the loops, and then we're going to get to work on these cannons. To be able to get this pipe through the giant cardboard tubing, we're going to use a giant hole screw, drill rather. Obviously this is an older model, you might have something newer, who knows, but we're going to use the big hole drill, and we're going to get going on these cannons in just a minute. Now that we have our bases all set, ready to go, we're going to get into how to make these cannons. We're going to show some accents, how to put that center fulcrum and leverage point through. So to add that hole in the tube, we're going to actually measure to see where that goes. I got this old school hole driller. Now to add some accents to your actual cannon to make them look contrasting, a little more texture and more realistic, you're going to want to cut the length of your tube, insulation tube, and then split it down the center. So when you go to the hardware store, you can get copper pipe insulator, and then on one side it actually already has a split, And then when you split that, you actually just want to cut and split it down the center. And then you'll get this split piping. And what's nice with this, now that you have that halved, this will wrap really nicely and add a lot of character to your cannon. So that will add all that contrast, that texture, that bevel, because obviously a iron cannon or a steel cannon like that would have reinforcement so it doesn't just blow apart. So yeah, we're gonna get into building these cannons right now. To add some accent to the end of the cannon, I'm going to trace around the tube and actually cut out a piece of wood to kind of close off the bottom. Then I'm going to use these finials. They're actually for draping fabric. It's good to have some sewing people in the family, but this is also recovered. We didn't pay for these. If you want to buy these at a craft store, they could be anywhere from $20 to $30, so a little bit pricier, but they're really going to create that excellent end bulb on the cannon. So we've repurposed and recycled these as well. Gonna add that cap and then add the finial, and they're gonna look really nice. Now obviously the end isn't gonna be rounded like a lot of cannons would, but again, for our purposes on stage, in a haunted house, they're gonna look really nice. To add that insulation tube to your cannons, cut it down to length and then cut it in half, and then slowly add it with hot glue onto your cannon. This will take some time, and be careful not to burn your fingers, but then you can trim it to size and finish everything with hot glue and it'll be really secure. Once you get all the way around your cannon, make sure to seal that seam with a lot of hot glue. Now if you find that you've gotten all the way around and you cut your tube a little long, you can just take scissors and cut it to size, and then again, seal it with hot glue. And if you have a little bit of courage and aren't afraid of burning your fingers, you can wipe the line clean like you would with caulk when you're doing your windows or countertops, making everything smooth. So we added the foam accents on these cannons, obviously gave them an undercoat primed in black, then added a little silver with a touch of bronze to give a little patina on the cannon itself. All put together, really nice, lightweight. Obviously the base have a little more structure to them, but we also don't want people just to like kick them over. So these are gonna be great little thematic elements, great for your own haunted houses, maybe school play, like if you're doing Peter Pan or anything that you're gonna need like a pirate ship or anything with a cannon on deck. These are great usage of kind of recycled materials. Everything here was practically recycled use, so we didn't buy much of this new. The only thing we bought new was the one tube for the larger cannon, but other than that, everything was kind of repurposed from stuff we had or were able to access. So give us a like or comment in the description below. Tell us how you think these turned out. I think they're pretty decent, and we'll see you on another build video DIY project. I'm Ryan, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in pictures.